Will Gennady Golovkin's name stand the test of time? Is the question that I need to ask to the entire boxing community. The LDBC, the YTBC. Now, I roll with the LDBC now. At first, I didn't really understand it. I was a little bit confused at first. I kind of looked at it as maybe copping a plea to the trolls and letting them take over the YTBC, but that's already been done. There's too many people screaming out the YTBC who don't deserve to be able to do that. So at this point, I can't even represent them anymore, man. I can't represent the YTBC anymore. Not like I used to be able to do it. It's just not the same anymore. So this question is posed to both, though. I'm talking to the boxing community as a whole with this particular question because I feel like this question needs to be answered by both. Will Gennady Golovkin's name stand the test of time? If he was to retire right now, today, will his name stand the test of time? And if you believe so, which fights are going to help his name stand the test of time? Is it the David Lemieux fight? Do you think that David Lemieux versus Triple G is going to wind up on ESPN Classic Fights 10 years from now? How about Triple G versus Dominic Wade? Is that going to wind up on ESPN Classic Fights? Because you got guys out here screaming that he's the greatest of all time. I mean, you listen to this guy, Shady Slim. I believe that he's lost his mind. I believe that he's not all there. But he's talking about Gennady Golovkin is the greatest of all time. Possibly. That he's the greatest middleweight of all time. That he's the most feared man in history. So my question is based off of what? What fights are we going to go back and revisit? Which fights have you revisited? How many times have you gone back and revisited Triple G versus David Lemieux? How many times have you done that? Have you done it at all? Because in my personal opinion, based off of what he's done so far, if he was to retire today, his name is going to fade away in 6 or 7 years, man. 10 years from now, nobody's going to be talking about Triple G. Not like they're going to talk about Pacquiao. Not like they're going to talk about Mayweather or Cotto or Marquez. Guys like that. Because he doesn't have any classic fights, in my opinion. This Kell Brook fight might be one of his most entertaining fights. I understand how important the David Lemieux fight was, but still, I mean, at the end of the day, that fight wasn't a fight that had a lot of fucking replay value to it. You may have gone back and watched it a couple of times, but it doesn't have that much replay value to it, man. And that's just my opinion. You might not agree with it, but if I'm giving my honest opinion, man, I believe 10 years from now, Triple G would be a non-factor, man. His name is not going to last, man. It's just not, because he doesn't have that classic fucking fight, that mega fight that he needs. I mean, you look at a guy like Pacquiao, for example. He has so many fights that have replay value to them, man. I mean, you look at the fucking Marquez fights alone. Just those alone, okay? You look at the Miguel Cotto fight. Antonio Margarito. Shane Mosley. Miguel Cotto. I'm not going to really mention the Mayweather fight because some people are just going to end up pissed off if they go back and watch that shit. But he has a lot of fucking classic fights that have replay value to them, okay? So does Mayweather. But where are Gennady Golovkin's fights that are classics? Where are they all at, man? Manny Pacquiao was dominant, because I know people are going to try to say, well, he's just too dominant, so the fights aren't competitive because he's just that much better, right? Well, Pacquiao was dominant, but he still was able to have some classic fights under his belt that have a lot of replay value to them. Gennady Golovkin just doesn't have it, man, and he's letting so many opportunities to get these fights go. He's letting them slip away, and the guy is getting older every fucking second, man. I mean, what, he's 35? It's going to be a wrap for him soon, man. And I will say this again. I will keep telling you this. Every time I talk about Triple G, I'm going to tell you this, man. When he fights the kid, Canelo Alvarez, he's going to get beat up, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now. You might not agree with it. You might not see what I'm seeing. But I'm telling you, man, next year, when this fight takes place in September, Gennady Golovkin is going to get embarrassed by Canelo Alvarez, man. And if I'm wrong, you can come back to this video and clown the shit out of me, man. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to be wrong, man. You guys are really underestimating Canelo Alvarez for that fight, man. He might be a little bit afraid now. But once that bell rings, once he's in the ring on the night, and that bell rings, you guys are going to see what I'm talking about, man. He's going to look very, very human when he gets in there against Canelo Alvarez. I'm not saying Canelo is just going to walk through him and it's going to be a breeze. What I'm telling you is the man with his hands in the air in victory at the end of that night is going to be Canelo Alvarez. He lost his opportunity to embarrass Canelo, I believe. By not going down and fighting him now, his window of opportunity to beat Canelo is gone. That's my personal opinion. You ain't got to agree with it. But that's just my question that I want to pose, man. I'd like to hear people answer this. Okay, will his name stand the test of time if he was to retire right now based off of what he's done so far? Since he's the greatest to so many people already. If you think that he's the greatest already, tell me based off of what, and tell me which fights have the most replay value to them, which ones are going to end up on ESPN Classic Fights, and do you believe that people are going to talk about Triple G 10, 15, 20 years from now? Like they're going to talk about Pacquiao, Mayweather, De La Hoya, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, those type of guys. Leave your comments, make your responses. I'm out.